Hey guys, so I got myself a new device, which is a gimbal, which should hopefully stabilize the shot a bit more. Still haven't really figured out how to work the functions, but it seems to be doing quite well so far. I had to get this because my previous gimbal couldn't handle the weight of my phone, so this one seems to be doing a much better job. So with the gimbal, it should make the picture much more stable. Haven't really figured out the functions yet. Okay, never mind, forget it. So yeah, Vesak Day on the 7th. Gotta make sure that all of the equipment is working properly beforehand. Look, who's that? Oh, who's that? Who's that? Hello. Hi, Tara. All of Vesak Day is being live streamed, so we don't want any kind of glitches equipment-wise on the day itself. Hopefully, you guys will all be tuning in. Please tune in. We will be doing all of our activities on live stream, so everyone will be able to participate from wherever they are. Right now I am at the Lama Tsongkhapa outside Wisdom Hall, doing a few rounds of circumambulation before I head back into Duka, because I have another video interview to edit. This one is very interesting. Oh, look who's there behind me. The next video interview is interesting because of who I'm interviewing. Some of you may have heard of her father. So yeah, so I'm going to do a few more rounds of circumambulation, reciting Nixima as I go along. If you guys would like to know the visualization to do while circumambulating, or whilst you're doing your circumambulations, let me know and I will film a video like that for you guys one of these days. Alright, so I'm gonna head off now. Sorry that it's so chaotic this morning. It's always the case, right, when dealing with new equipment. I'll see you guys later. Bye! Okay, so some of you guys wanted to see Rinpoche's cabin and also asked me about why we still have the cabin here. So I'm going to show that to you while the sun is still up, before it starts to rain. So just gonna walk up. So that's the cabin right there, and as you can tell, yes, I am using the new gimbal. So we are here at the cabin, which actually used to be located where Wisdom Hall currently is. We moved the cabin up here once construction was over. So we've kept Rinpoche's original cabin here and preserved it so that people can come and pay homage and check out the place where KFR all started. So before we get there, let's check out the sign. Alright. Oh, wind is starting to blow because it's about to start raining. There is a ledge here where people can offer candles. And of course, people have also offered Mani stones here, carved with the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum. And then right in front of Rinpoche's cabin there is a statue of Vajrapani, and also a wooden statue of Bigfoot. Okay, so let's go inside. Okay, so let's go into the cabin. So this is the cabin which Rinpoche lived in when we first moved to Kechara Forest Retreat. when we started construction here. And as you can see, it's a regular sized shipping container, regular sized container. And we've basically left it in the same way as it was when Rinpoche was living here. We still have Rinpoche's shoes there. This stand is for people to offer katas. The monk staff. Statue of Jade Tsongkhapa on the side. Rinpoche's monk coat. Bowl of fruit. And the statue of Bigfoot at the side. So Rinpoche would keep his personal effects and personal items in this cupboard, and then that would be Rinpoche's nightstand on both sides. And Rinpoche liked everything plain, so Rinpoche's bedding always plain. Even in Rinpoche's current bedroom, the bedding is plain as well. And it's pretty much left in the same way as it was when Rinpoche lived here. A couple of things have been moved out. For example, there was a scroll that hung here with the 8 verses of mind transformation, one of Rinpoche's favorite prayers. That scroll used to hang here, but now, of course, the scroll is gone. Tray of katas for people to offer, and family rules to inspire all of us to follow wherever we are, not just in Kechara Forest Retreat. And Rinpoche would spend all of his time here, sitting at the bed and looking out. And Rinpoche would do all of his prayers and his pujas and hold all of his meetings in here. So Rinpoche lived in this cabin for many, many months, and basically directed the start of Kechara Forest Retreat from this spot. So why do we keep it here? We keep it here because in the Tibetan tradition, in our tradition, we believe that wherever the Lama has resided, the place becomes imbued with the energy of all of the activities that the Lama performed while he was residing in that place. So commonly what you'll find in Tibetan households is if they have a room that a Lama has stayed in or their teacher has stayed in, then they will keep that room pristine for that teacher and for that Lama forever. And if there is a room, for example, that one of the Dalai Lamas has stayed in, that room will be painted yellow and it will be never used again for anything else. So these places where Lamas and monks and other holy beings have stayed, we believe that they become imbued with the blessings and the energy, the good energy, the positive energy of the holy being who stayed there. And so these places where these holy beings have stayed become objects of worship, places where people can come and worship and also connect with the energy of the teacher, and receive blessings from the teacher, receive blessings from the Lama. So as you can see over there, you can see a statue of Bigfoot here. Oh, by the way, that ball, that jade ball right there, that is, of course all of this is Rinpoche's, but that jade ball there was bought by Rinpoche, and Rinpoche gave it to many of his students to put by their computers because Rinpoche was told that it would absorb radiation. So, for students who spend a lot of time on the computer, Rinpoche wanted them to be healthy and be safe. So Rinpoche gave many of us that ball right there to absorb radiation, and I still have mine to this day. Mine is always by my laptop. And so why Bigfoot? Why is there a Bigfoot here? And why is there a Bigfoot outside? Bigfoot because Rinpoche had a very strong connection. As many of you know, Rinpoche had a very strong connection with Bigfoot from his previous life, and throughout all of Rinpoche's life in the 25th incarnation of Tsen Rinpoche, Rinpoche always had a very strong liking and fondness and fascination with Bigfoot. And it wasn't until we were in the US, when we were in Willow Creek, which is like the Bigfoot Mecca of the world, that Rinpoche actually learned that Rinpoche's current day fascination with Bigfoot stemmed from a connection in a previous life. So when we're at Willow Creek, at the same time, Rinpoche had a group of students who were in Shaganden Monastery in South India, and they were there to make offerings to the monastery. And while they were there, they had the opportunity to meet with a very old monk who has since passed away. He so happened to be a student of the previous Tsen Rinpoche in Tibet. And this student, one of the stories that this student told our Kecharians was that in Tsen Rinpoche's previous life as Khentrul Thupten Lamsang, he had this very strong connection with Bigfoot, and Kentru Tutan Lamsang would often go into the mountains to go on retreat. And while he was there, Kentru Tutan Lamsang would actually make use of Bigfoot to send messages between him and the other lamas. So Bigfoot would come to Kentru Tutan Lamsang's abode, take the messages, or like bring food, bring cheese, bring sampan, that kind of thing. But Bigfoot would take the messages from Kentru Tutan Lamsang and then deliver the messages to other lamas. For example, Dromo Geshe Rinpoche. So Rinpoche, the students, the Kecharans in Shaganden, they received the story and then they immediately texted our Rinpoche. And our Rinpoche was in Willow Creek at the time. So I remember we were all I think we were having dinner, and no, we were walking in one of the small towns close to Willow Creek, and Rinpoche received this text message, and then Rinpoche stopped us in the middle of the street, and Rinpoche was like, "Guys, stop. Do you know what I just read? Do you know what message I just received?" So we're like, "No, Rinpoche." And then Rinpoche proceeded, to read out the story of Kentru Tutan Lamsang's connection with Bigfoot, and all of us were like, "Oh my god!" So Rinpoche started asking us one by one what we thought it meant or what we thought it was, and why we thought it was significant. And Rinpoche said in the end that it's beyond explaining Rinpoche's fascination with Bigfoot in this life, which many people have asked, like, why is Sam Rinpoche so fascinated with Bigfoot? Beyond explaining that, Rinpoche said that it also goes to show the power of imprints, how imprints will manifest so strongly in our next lives. And Rinpoche said, don't think about it in terms of Bigfoot or whatever. Think about it in terms of all of our other activities. Whatever we do in our present life will manifest at some point, will create imprints that will manifest at some point in our future lives. So what kind of future lives do we want to have? What kind of future lives do we want to set up for ourselves? And based on that, we need to strongly think about what kind of imprints we're creating now. So in Rinpoche's case, since Rinpoche has such a strong connection with Bigfoot, amongst many, many other imprints, this imprint with Bigfoot was created. And so this imprint with Bigfoot manifested in Rinpoche in the form of a deep fascination for Bigfoot, that started when our Rinpoche was very, very young. So that's why you'll see Bigfoot there behind me, and you also see Bigfoot as a statue outside this cabin, because Rinpoche said Bigfoot was not just in the previous life, but in this life Bigfoot was also a messenger of Dharma for Rinpoche, a messenger who delivered Dharma teachings and Dharma messages and helped Rinpoche to connect with other people. So that is why you'll see Bigfoot all over, wherever Rinpoche stays. Bigfoot, we have Bigfoot Universe, we have many things named after Bigfoot. Rinpoche is always talking about Bigfoot, has many articles about Bigfoot on Rinpoche's blog. So that is why Rinpoche was so fascinated with Bigfoots, because of a previous life connection. So I hope you guys enjoyed that visit to Rinpoche's cabin. Now you know the significance of the cabin and why we still keep the cabin here, because in our tradition we believe that wherever the Lama has resided becomes imbued with the Lama's energy and the blessings of the Lama's holy activities that he performed while he was here, all the pujas, all the work, all the meetings that the Lama had. His bodhicitta beneficial activities have blessed this place. So this is a place that people can come to connect with the Lama and to receive his blessings. So I'm gonna head off now and show you guys something quite special outside of the cabin. Let me just turn off the lights because we want to conserve electricity. So this cabin was actually specially painted by Rinpoche students, and it was actually inspired by Finhorn. So you can see there like grass and then trees, blue skies, clouds, and so on. And more than that, this place actually is, it's there's a path around it, so you can actually circumambulate around the cabin just as you would any other holy site, because the holiest site is wherever our Lama has been, wherever our Lama has stayed. So there is actually space to circumambulate around the cabin. So Rinpoche actually had painted at the back of the container, not just sunflowers, but also this. These are Rinpoche's 3 dogs. There's Yogi on the right, also known as Mumu, Dharma on the left, and then Ose, the little white puppy there. And then Rinpoche said that that's Rinpoche in a cave meditating and becoming one with his Yidam. And Rinpoche has his 3 dogs always close to him. And then up over here is a quote from Rinpoche: "Be the change you expect of others." So we keep the cabin, the container, Rinpoche's container, under a separate roof to protect and preserve it. As I mentioned earlier, this container used to be located at where Wisdom Hall currently is, so we moved it once construction of Wisdom Hall started. Hi guys, you can see me in the reflection. Alright, and then in the front here, as I mentioned earlier, is the candle offering platform. And then over here there is a statue of Vajrapani. And the reason why we have a statue of Vajrapani here is because sometimes, people come to Kechara Forest Retreat, they're not of our tradition or not familiar with our tradition, and so they may not necessarily understand why it's important to preserve the spaces where a Lama has stayed. So Rinpoche said, sometimes people will be a little uncomfortable, perhaps making offerings to what they view as just a container. They may be more comfortable making offerings to Vajrapani. So Rinpoche had a statue of Vajrapani placed here so that when people make candle offerings, they can also visualize that they're making offerings to Vajrapani. And the other reason why Vajrapani is here is because Rinpoche was advised that he should always have a statue of Vajrapani close by to him. And then, of course, right next to Vajrapani is Bigfoot, because Rinpoche likes Bigfoot. And this space is really nice because it's its own little enclave in Kechara Forest Retreat. It's at the crossroads here. So down there is Dukkha Apartments, and then up over there is Manjushri Guest House and Manjushri Hill. And then if you follow the road this way, it takes you to the main guardhouse, takes you to the Manjushri Fish Pond, and it also takes you to the Tsem Rinpoche Relic Stupa project. This, by the way, here, this pond right here, this little pond right here, is a favorite for our dogs. They like to come here and drink the water. Right, so let me see. I think I'm getting better with this gimbal. It's not the easiest to get used to. Okay, so headed back down now to car. As you can see, the rain clouds are coming. As I mentioned, it's been raining every single day for the last week. It's really pretty. When we first moved here, all of these trees, they weren't so lush, they weren't so full of leaves, they were quite skinny, but they've really blossomed, if that's the right word to be used. They really blossomed over the last few years. Alright, going back to Dukkha Apartment now, so I will see you guys later. Goodbye! What was it like to be living in KFR in the early days? It was tough, but it was a lot of fun. And for those of us who were here in those days, we have very fond memories of, sleeping in tents. The girls got to share one container, and the boys were in tents in what we called Tent City. We showered in communal showers. We had a container that was divided up into showers, separate showers, and then we would shower in those. There was no road at the time, so Tara Walk, which is now cemented and a walking meditation path, back then Tara Walk was actually just a mud path, so it was a single lane in and out, and all of us had to use 4-wheel drive to get in and out because it was so muddy. There were times when the mud was up to our knees, and there were flash floods that would run through the front of our land and cover the whole of Gompa land during the rains. So we wouldn't be able to even get in, even on 4-wheel drives. Everything we bought had to be carried in by hand. If we were cooking in KFR, we had to get all our shopping and carry it in by hand and then trudge through the mud all the way in.
it was tough. It was extremely hot. We had no fans, for one or two fans, no air conditioning. There were so many bugs, so many sandflies and mosquitoes. The sun was really, really hot. We were burnt to a crisp. We were constantly muddy. I just remember constant mud. But when I think about those days, you can tell I'm smiling. Back then, of course, we got frustrated. There was struggles and all of that. But after all of those um, experiences, and then when you think and you look back, they just become really fond memories, because then you look around at what has come out of all of those struggles and you realize that they were all worth it. The best part was going through all of it, not just with our Dharma brothers and sisters, but having Rinpoche here on the land with us. Rinpoche would come out and supervise the construction himself. Rinpoche would clear the land himself with his own hands. Rinpoche would go around with the contractors, go around with the architects, and supervise the construction, give ideas. Rinpoche would just do pujas, and it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work, but a lot of good fun. Just to share with you guys one anecdote, there was one time Rinpoche went out to supervise the construction as usual, and Rinpoche fell into the mud. And there's a very famous picture of Rinpoche sitting on the ground and looking up like this whilst everyone's around Rinpoche and scrambling and digging at the ground. And that's because Rinpoche had fallen in and the mud had basically come all the way up to Rinpoche's like mid-thigh, and Rinpoche was stuck. And because the ground was so muddy, each time you pulled, the space that was left behind turned into a vacuum and it would suck Rinpoche back in again. But after hours and hours and hours of digging and pulling, finally everyone was able to pull Rinpoche out. But the thing was, because of the vacuum, once Rinpoche's foot was pulled out, Rinpoche's shoe was left behind. And Rinpoche said that it was fine, don't worry about it, and to leave the shoe there. And that shoe, we didn't realize it at the time, and we hadn't actually planned for it, but that shoe is actually now where the Lama Tsongkhapa Jesisima statue is built on top of, in front of Wisdom Hall. So it hadn't been planned that way. It hadn't been planned. It was just a complete accident. If you believe in accidents, it was a complete accident that Rinpoche happened to fall in at that particular spot. Rinpoche's shoe was left behind, and that in the future months after that, it was the exact site and location of the Lama Tsongkhapa statue outside Wisdom Hall. So the next time you guys come to Wisdom Hall after the movement control order and you see Jesisima Lama Tsongkhapa statue outside Wisdom Hall, now you know a little bit more about the history of the statue, which is that right under the statue, in the ground under the statue, is our Guru, His Eminence Sam Tugu Rinpoche's shoe. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I like going to the cabin because it's quiet, and I like going to the cabin because it brings back a lot of good memories of the hard work, but also the fun that we had. We didn't have running water, we didn't have electricity, we didn't have a mobile phone signal, didn't have a handphone signal. The rain was so heavy back then. Rain was so heavy back then. And there was one night when it was pouring cats and dogs, and there were people outside, along Tara Walk, and they were pulling in a water pipe. We were pulling in a water pipe from the front of the land, installing water pumps and connecting the water pipes. And Rinpoche got into a four-wheel drive and then came out in the rain and brought all of us hot sandwiches. So that was the kind of Lama that Rinpoche was. Never one to shy away from hard work, dirty work. Rinpoche was not the type to want to keep clean. Rinpoche got stuck in there with everyone else. So yeah, that was what it was like in the early days. Uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, very warm, very wet, very physical, but a lot of fun. And it was very, very nice, and it was a great privilege to have had the opportunity to be there at the very, very beginning of Kechara Forest Retreat. If you guys like, let me know. I can tell you guys in future videos, I can tell you guys more stories about the history of Kechara Forest Retreat, more stories about what it was like in the early days, some of the auspicious events that we have witnessed since we've moved in here, starting from when Rinpoche actually found the land, when the land was actually found. I can tell you guys stories about all of that if you like, but you know, like I said, just let me know. All right, so thank you very much for watching. As usual, please don't forget to like the video, to share the video. Do comment if you have any questions and I will answer you, or film a video response for you. And don't forget to like the page and to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you have any ideas for content, let me know and I will get on that for you as quickly as possible, as soon as possible. Don't forget, Wesak Day, as I mentioned earlier in this video, Wesak Day is on the 7th of May. Just because everyone isn't able to gather this year does not mean that we can't celebrate Wesak Day. So this year's Wesak Day, or Sagandawa, or Buddha Jayanti celebrations will be held virtually, will be held online. And if you would like to make offerings, by the way, if you'd like to make offerings as part of the Wesak Day celebration, you can go to vajasecrets.com and you will be able to make your offerings there. Alright, so again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.